Well, the last question I had is about the 10th Amendment. Ken Cuccinelli has spoken about his willingness to fight the federal government for state sovereignty, the unfunded mandates from the federal government, the federal government taking of states' independence and freedoms down to the individuals. What is your position on that?
My position is that I would support an effort in the General Assembly to rein in the federal government in terms of regulation, unfunded mandates, and all that whole set of requirements coming out of Washington. We have the capability, we have at the state level to handle those problems. Education is a good one. See, the Department of Education didn't exist until 20, 30 years ago, if then. And when you read the 10th Amendment, it's pretty clear that the Founding Fathers meant for federal government to be small, less obtrusive than it is today, less controlling, and for states and the people in the states, like at the local level, and the people to have more of a say over their lives. So we have huge federal intrusion, in my opinion, into our local communities and processes and money. And like they want to site or position all the new transmission lines now under the smart grid system without local or state involvement. In other words, the Fed's going to come in and say, we're going to put a power line from Glade Hill to Pinhook whether you want it or not. Well, the local government ought to have say through their local officials for that. So it's not just Ken Cuccinelli. There are many of us in the General Assembly, I think, that have had enough, and we think we're elected to do certain things at Virginia. We should be able to do them, and we should be held accountable for them. Same at the local level.
I think it's not just Virginia. It's spread nationally. I remember in January or February, there were only 6 state sovereignty bills before various states, and then within a month there were 26.
Yes.
And I think there's even more than that now.
Yes. I suspect Virginia will be on that list come January or February. Now, whether it'll pass or not, I don't know, but I guess I know where I'm going to be.
Right. Now, I guess I jumped the gun. The last question is, why are you seeking re-election?
That's an interesting question. I get asked that quite a bit, and I think there's really 3 reasons. One, we all owe our community, our state, and our nation something in return for what it gives us. So this is a matter of public service to me. Number 2, the 9th District, and I think each district has sort of a characteristic about it, certain in terms of values and principles and the culture of the people and what they feel and their think and their value system. And I think I can represent that value system here. And what I'm talking about, family and marriage, self-responsibility, taking care of your neighbors when they need help, having a good safety net, but people learning and having an opportunity to go forward. Second Amendment rights is a large part of that. That's kind of who we are and what we are. And that philosophy and my philosophy line up well, and I think I can represent that well. And I guess the third thing really is that when I look at state government, I think I bring a unique set of qualifications and experience. I've had local government experience. I've worked around the federal government for over 30 years. I have a rural background. In fact, I'm farming some now. Still am. I've done a little logging and sawmilling and all of that, but I have a background in technology with the Department of Defense, and computers are no stranger to me. Power and electricity, I have some experience in nuclear submarines and airplanes and tanks trying to keep electricity going. So, and I have kind of a broad background, and I think the diversity of backgrounds in the General Assembly is very important to represent all the people in the Commonwealth in the 9th District. So it's sometimes it's fun when you get a well done, then that makes you feel like it was worth it. Yes, some people are very adamant on stating their views to you, but I'm used to that. I've been an executive and a manager, and I try to listen to them all and gather as much input as I can and research every subject before I make the vote. And trying to say way ahead of time what you're going to do is not a good way to represent your people in a republic. You need to wait till you have all the information you can, because you will pick up a golden nugget in a public hearing that says, wait a minute, we shouldn't do this, or wait a minute, we need to do more than what this proposal is doing. Mm-hmm. So that in a nutshell, I think, are the three factors.
Speaking of the economy, what do you see as things that the state government, that you can do as a member of House of Delegates, or the state can do itself to help improve the economy?
Encourage small businesses. Keep this a business-friendly state. The worst thing we can do is lay on taxes and increase cost or regulations to business. We've got to help the businesses we have and make that environment good for new businesses, and especially small businesses. Government doesn't employ people like business. What, 80 and 90% of the jobs in the United States are in business. And that's what will bring this economy back. I still doubt government spending. It didn't between 1929 and 1938 bring the economy back. World War II brought the economy back before. So very clearly we need to do that. And we need to keep in perspective. Out of the 50 states, Virginia ranks 47th in its financial problems. That doesn't mean we're the 47th worst. California's up #1, and New York and Nevada and Arizona. Think in terms of the numbers being the other way around. We have the fourth best state. We're fourth from the bottom. We have the fourth best state economy in the United States. And that's because, in my opinion, the General Assembly has pursued for many years keeping and making Virginia a business-friendly state and a great place to raise children and things like that. And that goes back to regulation and reasonable taxes and policies. But those two things, regulations and reasonable taxes, that's how Virginia will come back.
I received a press release in the last couple of days from Governor Kane's office about U.S. News and World Report's listed Virginia as one of the best states to do business in. He was highlighting that. I forget, I think it was in the top 6, Virginia.
Virginia in the last 3 years has been #1 or #2 in the daily publications, U.S. News World Report, the Forbes magazine. I think the Forbes is the main one. We were #1 last year, the year before. Now that means as things begin to take off, or foreign companies want to move, or companies in other states want to move, they're going to look for that friendly business environment. And that's really how Virginia has financed its government and our infrastructure so well in the last many years, is that each year business has grown and brought more dollars into Virginia with the same tax rates. So that's allowed additional education money, additional public safety money. The whole state budget has increased considerably over the last decade, probably too much in some respects. But clearly it has allowed Virginia to have the Virginia we have today, because we had that right environment for jobs and for people to have opportunity. And yes, we need to work on it more, that's for sure. But I'm kind of proud to be a number 47 out of 50 compared with where the other states are.
Well, thank you for your time, sir.
I appreciate you coming down to Great Hill
Best of luck in the
today.
election.